Coach, whenever you're ready, we'll start the statement about this week's games against Georgia and Missouri, and open up for questions.
Well, man, we're in the back stretch, y'all. 4 more games remaining. It hit me when I was walking out the house today, and I only had 2 more stacks of tickets for games. So, we are now wanting to finish strong. And as a program, we are chasing something significant. And so, as far as Team 49 is concerned, we're going to try to make sure that we go into March red hot. Like I told you before, we would play our best basketball in February. Now, some could argue and say, well, you went 2-2 in the last 4 games. Well, one of the losses was versus the number 1 team in the nation. So, and then the other one, was just, Kennedy Todd Williams gets ejected from the game. Sometimes that happens. But what we've shown these last 2 games is, like I told you all before, is Ole Miss women's basketball, and I'm excited about moving forward. As far as our opponents are concerned, with Georgia and Missouri, 2 different opponents. This will be our second time around playing a team with Georgia. And I don't care what their record is, they just have not quit, and that's just a reflection of their coach. She's not a quitter. And so they play incredibly hard, and they have a young lady on their team that gave South Carolina the fits, and that we really focus on the first time out. Missouri, another team that has a unique style that you have to prepare for. It'll be on the road, and that'll be Monday, and that'll be the start of our 3-game week. So we end with a 3-game week. So right now my focus is rest, hydration, more film than ever, because we know what we know right now as far as physical, so it's just making sure that they have their minds right and that we can finish out strong.
Having time to go back and look at that, not having Snowden, what can you take away from the girls that that now they have that experience on top of everything else they've had this year?
Well, I think Maddie said it best when she said, I put on the board, it's going to take all of us, and we've lost a starter before and got embarrassed on our home court. So, there's a tremendous amount of growth that comes in with that. Also, I've been watching our team evolve right in front of my eyes. Even after the losses, I said it before, and it's not coach speak. Like this is our journey. We needed to lose those games to learn and figure out who we're going to be for the rest of the season. And I'd rather have those 2 and then win the 2 that we did where, the net was higher than us. And for sure, Mississippi State will be a tournament team. And to go into these 4 games, I guess this is the way that it just had to be.
Heading into, like you said, Georgia, and that somehow y'all still where y'all want to be with all the ups and downs. You talked about yourself. You kind of had a tough time. I guess, is this maybe one of the more proud teams you've had being here at Ole Miss with everything they've had to go through?
I think that's tough because I think back to when I had a manager, Tootie, out there blocking shots and playing hard. I think every year I found value in that team and their journey. But if I were to just focus on Team 49's journey, there had been times where I wasn't sure what it would look like. But fast forwarding to now, I'm very appreciative to be on this ride with them. And I think that they're starting to come into form, and hopefully we do play our best basketball in March.
Now, 3rd straight season of at least 8 wins, 500 or better record. You feel like now that's just the norm? Like you knew what you 6 years ago when you came in here, and you feel like now the norm has been raised?
That's so great that you said that, because I was talking to our chief of staff this morning, and I asked him at what point, right, do we expect to be a tournament team, to be legitimate? Because for the type of players that we want to bring in and that we've brought in, when I think back, I would never imagine getting a transfer from North Carolina. I'm just talking about the history of North Carolina women's basketball. They were a blue blood back then. And to get, the number one transfer from Maryland, like though I couldn't imagine those times. And so at some point, our word is next. So it's like, what's next for us? And so next is us chasing the way we need to chase, finishing out strong, and just continuing to have expectations for this program to show that we are legitimate and we have arrived, but the job is not done yet. And it's as far as I'm concerned, we're still trying to get into the tournament.
What have you seen out of Georgia on film since y'all played them about a month or so ago?
Right, and that was a long time ago when we played Georgia. Georgia is just incredibly competitive. They don't quit. You're going to have to play 40 minutes of basketball against them. Like I said, they have an interior player that probably we'll see play professionally. Like, she's really good. And they're relentless. And so we're not taking any game that is left on our schedule lightly. We're chasing every opponent. We're chasing them down because as far as we're concerned, they're in the way of what we're trying to accomplish.
If I can bring up Maddie really quick, SEC Co-Player of the Week.
Yeah.
But what I found interesting about her in the last 2 games, in the last 5 minutes, she scored 12 of your team's 20 points. What's to say about her and her as a leader that she's willing to just, I think you said in your post-game presser anyway, she's a people pleaser, she likes to push and things like that. But what's it mean that, when crunch time comes, she's able to take the ball into her own hands and contribute in a major way for you all?
Well, it's what sports is getting ready to miss because Maddie has been here from the beginning. So Maddie has not been in the position to take those shots because we've always had someone older, more experienced. And it's just her time. It is her time to step in and say, let's go this way. And I don't think she feels as much pressure because you have Kennedy Todd Williams that feels like it's her time. And you have Marquisha Davis that feels like it's her time. So in her mind, I think she's just performing. And we've always wanted Maddie to take more shots because she's our most efficient player. And I've moved her around a lot this season just due to just trying things out, throwing things on the wall and seeing how it sticks. But she is a point forward, but she is a threat when she is 15 foot and in.
Any other questions?
Yeah. With March coming up, everybody talking about March Madness and the Magic. What does it take, if anything, different for you guys to win this time of year?
I think any team that is trying to accomplish postseason play, it's going to take a level of focus. It's going to take a level of togetherness. It's going to take a level of commitment. And I also think, like coaches, it's going to take a level of understanding that less may be more, because you may feel the pressure as a coach to put in a bunch of different stuff, but as far as I'm concerned, we've come this far, 8 wins, and doing it this type of way. Like we score, everybody knows how we score, right? Transition, offensive rebounds, and free throws. And when we're really good, we're getting those 3 things. And I just believe that it's going to take a culmination of all of those things in order for teams to put their best foot forward and to be competitive in March.
Great. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.